Call the meeting to order, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening and welcome to the last regular school board meeting of the summer. First thing on the agenda is adjustments to the agenda. Mr. Given.
Yep, I do not have any adjustments to the agenda for this evening.
Okay, next item is public comments regarding agenda items. Okay, hearing none. Next item on the agenda is organization of the board. First item, election of officers, office of president.
I make a motion to elect Mike White as president.
I didn't have a chance to get out.
That wasn't planned either, Mike.
We're fast.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No, I'm kidding, don't. Motion passes. Next item, the office of vice president.
I make a motion for Russell Harvey.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next, the office of secretary.
Well, make a motion, it's Brian Cox.
Okay, I have a motion and a, well, can I get a second, I guess?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next on the agenda is the school board appointment to the legislative liaison to the ISBA.
If I remember correctly, this is typically the president, so I'll make a motion that Mike White is the representative.
I will second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I guess we can probably go ahead and do C through F all in one fell swoop, maybe. To appoint the corporation treasurer, Kelly Romer, finance director. To appoint deputy treasurer, Shelley Gardner. To appoint the high school ECA treasurer, Tina Williamson. And to appoint corporation attorney, Susan Trainer Chastain from Lewis and Campus. Let's try to approve C through G together.
I will make a motion to approve C through
F.
actually,
Yeah.
C through F together.
Okay, I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I think Dale second.
Oh, okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next is establish the date, time, and place of the regular meetings.
So sticking with the theme, if that's okay, fourth Monday of each month with the exception to December 12th of 2022 due to winter break and the December meeting will be December 12th, 2022 due to winter break. And in March, it'll be the third Monday, which is March 20th due to spring break.
At 7 p.m.
Correct. Here.
I make a motion that we accept it as Mr. Gibney has described.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of the meeting minutes for the executive session of July 14th, 2022, and the regular meeting minutes of June 27th, 2022. The allowance of claims, the financial report, and personnel reports, parts 1 and 2, which are on the website and hanging on the door. Mrs. Romer.
Hello, everyone. In your finance packet, as usual, you've got the payrolls first. There was 2 regular payrolls in the month of June. The first one was dated June 10th, 2022, for a total payroll of $402,994.40. And again, as usual, we've got accounts payable that goes along with our payrolls, and that's gonna be for payroll, taxes, and retirement. And total for that June 10th payroll was $115,853.18. And second regular payroll for June is dated June 24th, 2022. Total payroll, $401,972.66. And your accounts payable for payroll, taxes, and retirement, $119,532.80. And then next in your packet, you're gonna see a list of prepays that were dated for the month of June, June 1 through June 30th. Total on those would be $561,531.66. There was a couple of big ticket items I'd like to point out here. We had our first debt service payment for bond 2021. You'll see that on there. That's why they're a little higher this time. And of course, we have the health trust payment. That's pretty typical. And then we also purchased a bus that we paid for in the actually in the middle of June. So they're a little bit higher this month for our prepays. And then next in your packet, you're gonna see a list of claims dated today, July 25th, 2022. You know, per usual, we have a lot of renewals in the summertime, software, all kinds of stuff. So if there's anything on here that anyone had a question about, that I can answer questions?
On 6/17, did we buy a tractor?
We actually bought 2 mowers, one
Okay.
for the middle school, one for the high school.
Perfect.
Mhm. Is there anything else? No? Okay. Total on your claims dated today, July 25th, 2022, $432,664.77. Are we ready to move on to the finance report? Okay. Next in your packet, you should see the fund report. Balance at the end of June 2022 for education, $2,553,957.02. And in operations, end of June 2022, $2,380,855.99. Total on all funds, if you go to the very last page, numbered number 5, for all funds would be $10,275,412.28. And then you're going to see next in your packet the depository statement for all banks. Balances would be at the top. You've got less your outstanding checks there in the center. So your total for all banks minus outstanding checks is $10,275,412.28. And if you look at page 5 of the fund report, you'll see that those balance to the penny. And then, again, per State Board of Accounts, last month was the first time we talked about this. Anytime that I do any type of transfers within funds, between funds, I've got to make a list of those, and you're going to review those, and you'll need to sign off on those. Did anyone have any questions about those for June?
Nope.
Nope, okay. And then lastly, you're going to see the bond 2020 expenditures for July 2022. Our balance forward from July 2021 through June 2022 was $3,950,375.87. And per Mr. Cox last month saying that probably wasn't going to last too long, you are correct. Our total expenditures to date, actually till today, is $4,959,756.12. And then pending any questions, I'd like to submit for approval.
I do not have any questions. Okay, you have a motion.
I'll second the motion to accept the consent agenda.
I know you didn't. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is reports. First of all, the Assistant Superintendent report, Dr. Friend.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
So I have a couple of charts and graphs to share with you tonight, and I know you're really excited about that. I'm going to email you the full presentation of 25 slides for you to review at your own leisure. But I wanted just to share a few to highlight tonight. So from our iLearn data this past spring. So here's where we're sitting at right now by grade level for English language arts or reading. math scores. As you can see, those are kind of painful to look at.
Yeah.
This is compared to Indiana state average, so Greencastle being the purple bar, state of Indiana being the blue bar. So as you can see, just under state average for ELA and for math. So I have several other graphs and charts that I'll be sharing with you that kind of outline the impact of COVID as we look at our grade level test scores each year. And we can see COVID's impact on each year. And then along with our strategies for increasing our scores, which a lot of those things we've been putting in place this year with our changing curriculum and our coaching and our focus on the science of reading, our departmentalization, all of those other strategies that we're putting into place to help build that. But I'll have those more in depth to talk to you about. But if you have any questions just on the basic overall, this is where we're at right now with our spring iLearn scores. In the presentation that I'm going to send you also will have our NWEA scores and that show the growth that we're making for each grade level. So the growth is there, but even though the growth is there and we're growing kids, you know, for an entire year or 2 grade levels ahead, the fact that they come into a grade level starting already behind with the deficit, even though we're growing them, they're still not up to the proficiency rate that we want them. So we just have to increase our goals and our growth goals that much further. Mr. Cox, were you going to say something?
No, no, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, clearly I want these numbers higher, right? I think we're at least average. I feel like we're above average, right? I was just wondering, like, some of the things you've implemented, do you feel pretty good about the fact that these numbers will go up by the end of the year for next year?
That's our hope, and the strategy is absolutely. So this past year being that it was the training piece and with just implementation, so as we go into this fall, that things will be in full implementation, everyone will be fully trained. It's not like a practice or a figuring it out year. It's that we're full steam ahead. So I'm hoping that those will make definitely a significant impact.
Okay.
Okay, great.
And then I also just wanted to share, we also, Mrs. Rhodes and I have been in communication with United Way, and we are going to bring the Read Up program to TZ this fall. So we're really excited about that. And so they take community volunteers from Greencastle and place them with a specific student in TZ for the entire year. So they'll meet with that student just to read out loud and to have that mentorship plus the additional reading practice with an adult. So we're excited about that. And then I believe there's going to be something in the banner graphic to help recruit volunteers for that as well.
Very nice.
So I just wanted to ask, and I think you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I mean, there's, and maybe there's just more detail in what we'll see later, but I mean, there's a rollover effect, right? I mean, so.
Rollover from COVID, do you mean, or from
Well,
previous?
I mean, I'm just talking about like from year to year, right? So as a student goes from, one grade to the other, if testing scores are low, it's, 7th grade, right? And then roll into 8th grade, if there's things that they're missing from 7th grade, it's that much harder.
That growth gap grows, that's exactly what, yes, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, so, I mean, is there a concern in closing that? Like, I mean, I know there's things in place, but I mean, that has to be a pretty big concern, right?
It is. And so with working with the middle school, specifically this year on their RTI schedule, which is like the response to intervention, to come in and help fill those gaps, because we have to continue to teach our students on grade level, the grade level material, but then how do we also fill in those missing gaps that they're, foundational sometimes of a 7th grader that still doesn't know math facts or how to do fractions.
Right.
How do we fill those things in and also teach, pre-algebra skills? So it gets difficult the older a student gets, and that's one of the reasons that we're putting such a huge focus on primary reading, because if we can close that gap and get them on level reading proficiently by third grade, that changes the entire trajectory, so we don't have that huge catch-up and gap by the time they get to middle school. So it makes it difficult for what we're, trying to help catch up those students now in secondary, but that's why we're placing so much focus on primary education too. Yeah.
Okay.
A good question.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the superintendent report, Mr. Gibney.
Yeah, so just briefly, some updates on the building project. Obviously, the board has had an opportunity to inspect the progress at the high school. Things are moving rapidly along at the high school with closing up of some holes in the grounds and the digging of an even bigger one between the high school and McAnally. So they're making progress. Obviously, the goal is by the end of this week to restore access to some areas to where we'll need students in the community to be able to travel. So we've been working through kind of what that site plan looks like for student and staff access through the building. But obviously, we know a large majority of the building will not be accessible while it's under construction. So things are moving along rapidly. Well, there, I think we expect to see some steel go up in the courtyard in the next month. Some steel in the what was the former media center, which will now be converted to classrooms. So they've done a lot of foundation work in preparing it for steel out in the courtyard. Certainly, obviously, digging the hole out between the buildings. Having to reroute some utilities and things of that nature, preparing for the relocation of the water main through the water tunnel. Probably one of the most noticeable things is now the West Drive, even though we were restricting access there, but there's the new West Drive from Washington Street to access the back of the building. So that has fresh curbs and got paved. So that was it's very noticeable and looks nice. Obviously, they're putting in the permanent entrance on Washington Street from the student lot. So things are moving along really well there. High school administrators, staff have done a great job of communicating and kind of working through some of those challenges. Obviously, we'll get some more information out to families here as we approach the start of school. Primary work is ongoing. The sealing up of the building envelope with TZ was highly successful and probably took care of about 80 to 90% of the humidity, moisture, warm temperature, bringing the outside air in because it was unconditioned. And so that's been helpful. Testing agency came back. Now we're running some secondary tests because if you remember the first time when we tried to pressurize the building, we couldn't because it leaked so bad. So now we're trying to kind of narrow some of those additional gaps and focuses to take care of that as well. Secure entrances are obviously, we know that all of our buildings are secure at all time, but we are putting in some additional or a second level of checks through the secure entrances, and those are moving along. We've been hit a little bit by some delays in the supply chain. A couple of the buildings definitely won't be ready by the start of school, but we'll have some temporary walls and doors. They'll still be, secure on the outside like they always are. And then there's an outside chance that TZ will get finished by the start of school. But we're just waiting on those things to be shipped. The doors and the storefront materials, but all the demo work, drywall work, putting things back together, flooring, all of those things have taken place. The new maintenance building is complete. We just need some cement or asphalt to go down in front of it. And then one of the final pieces, the middle school project is out to bid, and it's the 28th that bids are due. And so we'll have some costs for the three primary pieces: the media center, secure office, and science labs at the middle school, and then just some miscellaneous site work throughout the district. We'll have costs back on that Thursday. And so it's exciting times. definitely hasn't been convenient for folks. It's been messier than usual, but people have been really good, and obviously we're excited for these changes to be final. And then outside of that, obviously, we're really excited to welcome our staff back on August 1st. So we're going to have our opening day this year at the middle school, an all-district breakfast and then meeting. And then obviously the return of our students on August 3rd. So our buildings are working through registration, final enrollments, initial reactions that enrollment looks good. But of course, we'll wait and see. And then just rounding out our staff. So the staff shortage in Indiana is very real. Don't care what anyone says. There are not enough licensed teachers out there. We could hire for pretty much every employee classification in our school district, but we continue to do the best we can to fill out our staff and find the most qualified and the best to work with kids. So it'll be a race to the final minute, but we are doing the best we can to fill any remaining vacancies in our district. So that's all I have for now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is old business, and there is no old business, so new business. First item is an approval request for food services for the 2022-23 meal pricing and 2022-23 B&B food, or B&B
Food bid.
food bid.
Yeah. You have to bear with me as I scroll through here to find it, so I can see what cost recommendations are. Bear with me.
Page 95.
Page 95? Yeah, so, meal prices, won't increase, for this school year, so high school, middle school remain at $3.10. TZ Deer Meadow and Ridpath for lunch, $3, reduced lunch 40 cents. Breakfast at all schools, $1.85, reduced lunch 30 cents. Adult lunches, $4.60 for lunch, breakfast, $2.50, and milk will be at 60 cents. So, Debbie's done a good job of trying to maintain costs and just be creative, that she feels confident in leaving lunch prices the same as they were. And then obviously the annual thing, just the approval of the food bid, that's to obviously help keep costs at a better level and buy in bulk for food and supplies. So it'd be my recommendation the board approve those two requests.
I noticed it had, on the bid, it has an escalation clause. If that happens to happen, do we pass that on or do we eat that?
Yeah, at some point, obviously, if it's not viable to cover our costs, ideally not looking to raise costs during the school year, but we might have to look in the following year. But the federal government is providing, I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but they're providing some additional funds through reimbursement to help offset some of the inflation, cost from inflation. Yeah, it's a volatile market just across the board, whether it's food or anything else.
And random, do we need to send out a reminder, like when the kids come to school the first day, that parents have to pay for lunch again? Because it's been a couple of years since we paid for lunch, just a general reminder. Oh,
Yeah,
don't
there's
forget.
been some information go out, and that'll just have to be a continued reminder.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I make a motion we approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is an approval request for accurate IT services offered to purchase the old Tizonicus student laptops.
Yeah, so we're excited to distribute, thanks to the large federal grant that Mr. Hill helped secure, and also greatly reduce the cost of devices at TZ for the next couple of years. So now we have the old devices, and we would like to sell those because they're surplus, they're no longer needed. And so Accurate IT Services gave us the best bid. So we'd like board approval to dispose of those laptops so that we can recoup a little bit of money.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next is an approval request for classroom furniture for Greencastle High School.
Yeah, so included in your board packet, and also obviously planned for as a part of this building project. Been working with the Binford Office Group to update our classroom furniture for the new spaces at the high school. And so we're trying to time up the ordering for when the first couple of spaces will be complete. This is all through the public bid process through the service center. So now we're just seeking approval to move forward, to finalize the purchase for these first couple of spaces. So that way when they're finished, we're not putting the old furniture back in, we're outfitting it with new updated furniture.
I'll make a motion to be approved.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, or all opposed? Motion passes. Next is an approval request for fitness equipment for Greencastle High School.
Yep, so very similar along with that. Obviously, one of the areas being renovated or improved is the student staff fitness or weight room, cardio room. And so been working with Life Fitness. This has also been publicly bid out as part of Sourcewell Group. And this quote expires in August, and so I'm wanting to lock in our cost because things have just continued to increase, and so we want to get this order placed so that way the price is locked in, and when we're ready for the equipment, they can ship it.
I make a motion.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is an approval request for 2023 proposed budget calendar.
Yeah, so most of these are corresponding dates. Of course, it's my favorite time of year, budget time. Love doing the budget. So I've been working with Kelly on the budget, and this is just the process that we have to go through since we have an appointed board, and making sure that we hit all the meeting dates with the county council and all of that's a little more complicated. So those are the dates that we would like to use. So I would recommend, if you agree, that we approve those calendar dates. They pretty much follow our normal board meeting schedule.
I make a motion, we approve the 2023 budget calendar.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is an approval request for the Teacher Appreciation Grant.
Yeah, so this is something we have to approve every year in order to receive teacher appreciation grant funds from the state. We already have a policy that addresses it, not seeking to change anything for whatever reason. The state requires, the Department of Ed requires us to approve this annually. So I'm asking you to approve this tonight so that I can submit it to the state by the deadline.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is an approval request for some donations. First being from Dave's Heating and Cooling to Greencastle High School Athletics in the amount of $1,500. York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Plainfield to Greencastle High School Athletics in the amount of $1,500. And Seniors Towing to Greencastle Greencastle High School Athletics in the amount of $1,500.
I make a motion that we gladly accept these donations.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is other business. Does anyone have any other business they'd like to discuss? No?
Well, good luck to the start of the school year.
It's getting close.
Okay. Then final item on the agenda is adjournment. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for coming and be careful going home.
Thank you.
See you next month.